Our first reading today is from the book of Exodus, and of course we think of Exodus as a story of the Jewish people being freed from Egypt, which is right, but that's in a way a small part, because the rest of the book of Exodus, most of the rest of it is, okay, if you're going to be grateful to me, this is how you show it, and you do this and you do that. And so the reading we hear today has to do with a lot of do's and don'ts, and the whole chapter is in much of the Deuteronomic law. This is how you love God, by, in a way, doing things that get God's approval. So love and approval can be so conjoined, so similar. But the gospel then says, okay, love God with all your mind and all your heart and all your soul, and your neighbor as yourself. Which of those two is the more difficult? To love God with all your mind and all your heart? Or to love your neighbor as you love yourself? There's really three things to love yourself. So that's a real tension today. The Gospels we've been listening to these last 4 weekends, it's all about the Pharisees and those who keep the law and who encourage other people to keep the law. And if you do that, if you keep the law, God will approve of you. God will love you. That is a very important distinction. Does God approve of us? And do you approve of yourself? I was thinking in this, I'm praying with this gospel, I remember in grade school, one of the young people, girls in my class, told me she loved me. And my immediate reaction is, you don't know me as I know me, and if you love me, I could not possibly love you because you're a person of bad judgment, because you're not judging me honestly as I do. Well, she probably did love me, but I didn't love myself at that time. Anybody who loved me had bad judgment. How to love yourself while still being in the area of disapproval. We equate the two, and that's got to stop. God does not approve of us. Oh, did I say that? Yes. God does not approve of us. God loves us and asks us to love ourselves beyond our disappointment of ourselves. And to the degree to which I am disappointed and don't love myself, then I'm going to be disappointed. I will find something in you that disappoints me. And then that's the real challenge. To love your neighbor when there is disapproval or judgment on your part of that other person. The areas that we don't like in ourselves are probably the areas that disappoint us in others. So we have to, in the challenge of the readings today and the challenge of the Eucharist, is to let God love me. Maybe that's how I love God. Letting God love me within the context of my own being a disappointment to myself. And can I love myself because God does, and God's love embraces my disappointments? Yes. God loves me in my truth. My truth is not that I am a total disappointment. So to love God with all your mind and all your heart, that would be a disappointment. You can't do that. You can't do anything totally. We call that totalism. To be absolute and forever and never and always. No. We are so partial. And you know what? We don't like the partial. We like the complete, and we always find ourselves incomplete. So to love your neighbor as yourself, you might feel sorry for your neighbor. You'll find disappointment in everyone. Yes. In a way, that's what they're about. To help us love beyond approval, beyond assessment. Love is reception of the human condition. Love has got many, many forms. But maybe it's this, that God as creator loves and creates. We are formed in God's image as creators, that love is, I want to help God create you. I don't want to do the whole job. If some of you may have read C.S. Lewis' The Great Divorce, and in one of the incidences, the book is about a busload of people who go from hell to heaven and why they choose not to stay there. They can't stand it. And one of the women who argues is, I want my husband back because I'm not done with him yet. He's in heaven, but he's not complete. I made him. And that's not what we're talking about. She was making herself more interested in herself than in him. Love is how I want to be a part of God's creating you. And I want to and this is the way I love you, by letting you love me in creating me. It's a mutual receptivity. I am not the agent of your creation. We are partners of each other's creation. No matter who that other partner is, spouse, family, friends, neighbors, I love my neighbor as myself to the degree to which I let my neighbor, my spouse, my family, even strangers. The first reading says, receive the strangers because you are a stranger. Yes, we are strangers to ourselves. And we define ourselves by what is successful and what isn't. And so we have kind of a Dow Jones. My stock rises, my estimation of myself, because I did well today. Well, can you love yourself when there is some reason for disappointment? So, the challenge is to let go of the paralleling or the making one approval, appreciation. God doesn't appreciate us, because then God could disappreciate us. No. We have to let God be God, and we have to let God continue to create us as we are ourselves, and then we enter into God's creation of our neighbor. That's what I would call love, leading from the Eucharist, where I receive the gift of love to be an agent of that love and creation of myself, gratefully, of you, gratefully as you are, and as we both will be, because we love each other.